All right, let's talk about something that's both a dream and a nightmare for any developer. What happens when your application just blows up, goes viral overnight? We're going to get into the magic that keeps everything from crashing, what we call elastic infrastructure.
Just picture it, right? That one social media post goes totally viral. Or the product you've been grinding on for months finally drops. A Black Friday sale kicks off, and boom, your traffic doesn't just grow, it explodes. 10 times the users, all at once. What happens to the system holding it all together?
So does some poor engineer get a frantic page at 3 in the morning? Do they have to stumble out of bed and start frantically adding more servers? Well, in the old days, yeah, maybe. But today, in the world of modern infrastructure, that whole middle-of-the-night scramble is exactly what we've designed systems to avoid.
Okay, so for those of you following along in our Kubernetes series, we've already covered a lot, right? We've seen how K8s basically runs our applications, how it manages networking, and even how it stores data.
But here's the thing. All that amazing orchestration is kind of useless if it can't handle change, because the real world is messy, it's unpredictable, and our applications, they have to adapt. They have to scale up and scale down, sometimes in the blink of an eye.
So yeah, that brings us to what we can call the unpredictable traffic problem.
See, with a static, old-school setup, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you don't have enough servers to save money, what happens when you get a big traffic spike? Your app crashes, users are angry, you lose business. But if you over-prepare and have way too many servers running just in case, well, you're just burning cash on machines that are doing nothing most of the time. It's a lose-lose situation.
And this is exactly where Kubernetes shines. I mean, the official docs say it all. Kubernetes is designed from the ground up to run these kinds of systems resiliently. And a huge, huge part of that is taking care of scaling and failover for you automatically.
So how does it actually do it? Well, its first line of defense is a really simple but totally powerful idea. Solution number one is just add more pods.
This magic is handled by something called the Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, or HPA for short. Its entire job is to watch what your application is doing, and based on that, it automatically changes the number of running copies, or pods, to match the demand. It's called horizontal scaling. Think of it like adding more lanes to a super busy highway.
So, how does the HPA think? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. First, it's always monitoring key metrics, like how much CPU your pods are using. Then, it compares that to a target you set, like, hey, I want my pods to hang out around 50% CPU usage. And if there's a difference, it just adjusts. It tells Kubernetes to either add more pods to bring the usage down or remove pods if things are quiet.
You know, the best analogy for this is a really smart grocery store manager. They see the checkout lines getting crazy long, and what do? They immediately get on the intercom and open up more checkout lanes. It's a fast, simple, and super effective response to that sudden rush.
But here's the really cool part. This isn't a person. There's no manager making a call. It's an automated system, making these decisions in seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without waking a single person up. No frantic pages, no panic. The system just adapts. Okay, but what if adding more checkout lanes isn't always the best solution? What if some jobs don't need more people, they just need one person with better tools? That brings us to solution number 2, making our pods stronger.
And that is the job of the Vertical Pod Autoscaler, or VPA. Now, instead of changing the number of pods like the HPA does, the VPA changes the resources, the CPU and the memory, that are given to each individual pod. We call this vertical scaling. Think of it like making each individual pod more powerful.
So the VPA works a little differently. It's kind of like a data scientist for your pods. It looks back at how your application has been behaving over time, and it learns its patterns. And based on that history, it recommends the perfect amount of CPU and memory. Then, it can even automatically update your pods with these new, more efficient settings.
So let's go back to our grocery store. Instead of opening new lanes, this time, the manager gives every cashier a super fast, upgraded scanner and a bigger bagging area. Now, each individual cashier is way more efficient. They can handle more customers all by themselves. That's vertical scaling.
All right, so we can add more pods, and we can make each pod stronger. But what happens when the machines themselves, the actual servers that all these pods are running on, what happens when they just run out of room? Where do the new pods even go? This brings us to the biggest layer of scaling, more machines. It's often called node autoscaling, and it's usually handled by something called the Cluster Autoscaler. Now we're not talking about pods anymore. We're talking about the underlying infrastructure itself, the actual servers, or what Kubernetes calls nodes.
And the trigger for this is really important. Imagine the HPA wants to create a bunch of new pods because of a traffic spike, but there's literally no room left on any of the existing machines. The Cluster Autoscaler sees these stranded pods that have nowhere to go, and it jumps into action. It talks directly to your cloud provider, like AWS or Google Cloud, and says, hey, I need a new server. And just as importantly, if it sees a server that's just sitting there, not doing much and wasting money, it'll safely move the pods off of it and shut it down. So, back at the store, this is the final epic move. Every single checkout lane is open. Every cashier has the best scanner money can buy. But the store is still completely full, with a line out the door. So what does the company do? They instantly build and open a brand new wing on the store, just like that.
Okay, so let's take a step back and look at the full picture. We've seen 3 different layers of autoscaling. Let's put them all together.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway. Kubernetes doesn't just have one trick up its sleeve. It has a complete, multi-layered strategy for scaling. At the lowest level, you've got pods scaling horizontally with the HPA for those quick traffic bursts. Then, you've got resources scaling vertically with the VPA for long-term efficiency. And finally, you have the entire infrastructure scaling with the node autoscaler. They all work together in this beautiful automated dance.
So let's just nail this down one last time. The Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, that's adding more checkout lanes. The Vertical Pod Autoscaler, that's giving each cashier a faster scanner. And the Cluster Autoscaler, that's building a whole new wing on the store. Simple as that.
So with this whole system working together, your application is now truly elastic, it's resilient, it's efficient, and it's ready for pretty much anything. But as we build these incredibly powerful and complex systems, a really important question comes up. It's one thing to make them scale, but how do we make them secure? We'll get into that next time.